In this video, I'll show you how we can solve the value of x. So, the question says x minus 4 is equal to 5. Well, the concept, we can understand it this way. Let's assume x is unknown. And then we subtract 4 from the unknown number, and then we get 5. The best way to understand it is, let's assume x represents the number of candies you have. So if you subtract 4 candies from the total number that you have, then you have 5. This is how we can approach the problem. We had x minus 4 is equal to 5. Then we can add 4 to both sides. Then if the goal is to find the value of x only, then we have to put x by itself on one side of the equation. In order to remove the minus 4 that we have to add 4 to it. But here's the thing. If we add 4 to one side of the equation, then we are altering the equal sign that we have. So if we only add 4 to one side of the equation, we have to add another 4 to the other side of the equation as well. Then we have to add 4 to number 5. Then we have x is equal to 5 plus 4, which is equal to 9. Where does this 4 goes to? When we add plus 4, it's going to go to 0. So there is an implicit 0 in here, but we don't write it. Because 0 is a 0 at the end of the day, so we have x is equal to 9. Let's try another example. We have x minus 1 over 4 plus 5x minus 1 over 4 is equal to 1. First, we have a division in here. We can take 1, 4 and add, because there is an addition in here. We can put x minus 1 plus 5x minus 1 is equal to 1. We add the like terms, so we have x with 5x, and then we add negative 1 with negative 1. X and 5x will be 6x, and negative 1 added into another negative 1 will become negative 2. 6x minus 2 over 4 is equal to 1. Now we can multiply 4 to both sides. What we have is 6x minus 2 is equal to 4 times 1. Then we can add 2 to both sides. Then this will become 6x minus 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 plus 2. Keep in mind, the plus 2 is in here, the plus 2 is in here. What was the goal once again? To put plus 2 to both sides. This is because we want to isolate the x by itself, the 6x in this case. And how do we isolate it? By removing this number. We add the same number but opposite sign. So we have negative 2 in here, then we add positive 2 to both sides. Then this will become 0. Then we have 6x is equal to 6. We divide both sides by the coefficient of x, which is 6 divided by 6. Then we have x is equal to 1. Let's try one more example. Let's say we have 2x plus 5 divided by 6 minus 5x minus 1 divided by 6 is equal to 2. So we can take 6. And we have 2x plus 5. So here is the most important part of this step. Here we have negative, which is the reason that many students get wrong in this kind of problem. We have to be really careful because it's negative in here. So before I proceed, I want to show you one of the rules of math on the side. If we have a minus b plus c in parentheses, then we take care the b plus c first and then subtract it from a. But if we want to remove the parentheses, we're going to distribute the negative to both b and c. So what we have in here is we have a minus of b minus c. Now you might be wondering, why did I do this positive and change it into negative? What we can do is we had a minus b plus c, right? So the value of c is positive. And the value of b is positive still, because there is an implicit positive in here, but we don't write it because it's the first number. The same way we don't write this one. So let's say if we have 2 minus 4, the negative is here, but there is plus sign in here. It is assumed that the 2 is positive, but we don't write this positive. The same way we don't write it here either. So what we have is we can multiply the negative to this positive, and then we get negative. We have a minus b, and we also multiply it with this positive too. So we have negative multiplied by positive, where we get negative c. So let's go back to our example. We assume this is one entity. Now, when we combine it in here, we are going to distribute the negative to both 5x and minus 1. So we can see that in front of the 5x there is a positive. So we can multiply it with this negative, then we can get negative 5x. And then we can multiply the negative with the negative 1. We're going to get positive 1 because negative times negative is positive. Then is equal to 2. So now you can see that this is where most people get it wrong. It's actually very tricky because we just simply assume that this one is a negative. We combine the 2x with the 5x and the 5 with 1. So we have 2x and negative 5x. We get negative 3x because 5x is greater than 2x. And then we have 5 plus 1, which is 6. And then we divided it by 6 is equal to 2. So we can multiply both sides by 6, or we can crisscross it. We can choose either method. We can assume that the 2 is divided by 1 because 2 divided by 1 is 2. We can crisscross it, or we can multiply both sides by 6 because the end goal is to just remove this 6 so that it is easier to remove this one later, and then finally the negative 3. So we can multiply both sides by 6. What it remains is negative 3x plus 6. The 6 is also for 2, so it will become 12. So negative 3x will become 6. Oh, actually, let me just go back and do it again. So we have negative 3x. We subtract 6 to both sides. And why do we do that? Because we want to isolate the negative 3x by itself. So we can subtract negative 6 to both sides. How do we know it's negative 6? It is the same value as this one, but opposite sign, so that it can cancel to 0. So we have negative 3x is equal to, and 12 minus 6 is 6. And then now we can divide both sides by negative 3. Then we get x is equal to negative 2. How do we sure that negative 2 is the answer? We can go back and insert it here. And this whole operation is going to sum up to 2. If they are equal, then our answer is equal. We can prove it right now. We have 2x plus 5 over 6 minus 5x minus 1 over 6 is equal to 2. So let's put negative 2 in place of x. So we can put 2 times negative 2 plus 5 over 6 minus 5 times negative 2 minus 1 over 6. Remember, this is one entity and this is one entity, because this whole division divides everything, is equal to 2. So we have 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 plus 5 divided by 6 minus 5 times negative 2 is negative 10 minus 1 divided by 6 is equal to 2. We have 1 divided by 6 because negative 4 plus 5 is 1 minus negative 11 because negative 10 minus 1 is negative 11 divided by 6 is equal to 2. We can see that we have negative here, and since there is a bracket in here, or it doesn't matter whether there is a bracket or not at this point, because we only have one value right now. This is one value. If there was a summation or a subtraction, then it would be tricky to distribute the negative. Now it's only 1, and then we can only distribute it to that one value. And then we only have negative 11 over 6. Then we're going to multiply this negative with this negative. Now we have 1 over 6 minus 11 over 6 is going to be plus 11 over 6 is equal to 2. Then we can sum up this 2 because we have the same bottom, 6, and 1 plus 11 is 12 is equal to 2. Then if we divide it 12 by 6 is going to be 2, which is equal to 2. Then we proved it. So our answer, which is x is equal to negative 2, is the right answer. That's all for today. In the next example, I'll show you what would happen if we have a different bottom number.